Okay, welcome everybody, and call the meeting to order. Pledge for allegiance.
No, we'll skip the Pledge of Allegiance. That was a Jan era. You can't really pledge an allegiance to the United States flag, can you? There you go.
No, you don't want to get involved in that, that's all.
Emotionally, yes, but
You don't want to get involved
theoretically,
in
no.
that.
So that was just because I do it all the time for the
Right,
Historical
the
Commission.
others. Okay. Right.
Oh, you have
Okay.
all the printouts
Call to
already.
order.
I try.
Meeting, yeah. Right.
What the heck is it? Where's my-
Okay.
Spring me, Fred.
There we go.
That's the agenda.
You get to the
Oh,
bottom.
here we go. It was,
Okay.
oh,
Commence the meeting with a review of the prime minutes.
okay, I got one comment on it, but I got a comment on tonight as well. It should be noted when we open. Should be noted when we close, it should be
Oh,
noted
when
when
we
we
open?
open, yeah.
Okay.
And you can,
You mean
Probably
time-wise?
yeah,
Time-
yeah,
oh.
and you should probably also note that,
Even though it's noted at the top?
well, that's when it's supposed to open, when does it actually open?
Okay.
I mean, sometimes you have to wait for people to come and,
Yeah, so far we've been
that's
okay.
kind of traditional, yeah, I know. But the other thing is, you know, and just, yeah, you've got members present, that's good, okay, that's good. Sometimes people come in late and then you have to note that down
Yes,
to it.
Okay.
Um,
Any
and that's it, that's the only comments I have.
Okay, I'll make
On
that
both minutes and
change to
tonight.
both.
Okay. Right.
And should someone move
Yeah,
to
Somebody
pass?
move, yeah, I'll
Yes,
move,
motion to,
approve both sets of minutes.
any discussion required?
I'll second you.
Discussion, no.
All in favor?
All in favour?
Aye.
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 Aye, right,
We're getting there.
For better every week.
okay.
Not bad for both of you.
Good, okay, next.
So I can update on my mini to-do, and unfortunately it's not too much of an update. So I did reach out to the Mass Audubon Society to see if they had any information on the mechanism to get rid of the geese, and they did not have any information on that. So I tried calling a golf course too, that wasn't successful, but I think that the next step, which I'm happy to take on, is to call like a bunch of golf courses and see if we can find one, probably one of the fancier ones.
Try calling the town of Hadley.
Yeah, can I just add Ipswich, there's a place down there that has something called Bird X electronic goose repeller, covers 2 acre breadth. It's quite big, it costs $280 and it is pretty well guaranteed, they say in their blurb, effective.
Oh, okay. And did you say Ipswich is using it, or it's
No,
based in-
it can be bought there, I didn't get the,
Oh.
it may be the town of Ipswich or it may be, I just picked it up on the website. It's called Bird X electronic goose repeller.
There you go.
And they do guarantee it's effective, I mean, something to research, because it is still
Yeah.
pretty nasty.
No,
What'd you say, 2,200?
$280,
No,
sorry.
2 acres.
the
Two
area,
acres.
2 acres.
It's supposed to cover, that's what they.
Which would
Wow.
more than cover the
I
pond.
know, I didn't know that, how big is the whole green, is it?
Probably 5, 6, I would say 5,
You may
yeah.
only need 2.
Acres?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, oh yeah. But you gotta count the pond.
Well, no, I have no acre concept, do you?
Oh.
I mean,
Yeah.
I
No,
thought it was
Yeah.
about
The-
2.
Well, my lower field is 5 acres, and so this is probably just right around that size.
and we would only need to cover the
The
pond.
pond.
Yes,
Yeah,
actually, if you
absolutely.
cover half of the pond and half of the spot, you know, where they go to, you pretty well got them cut off.
where that poor lady was cleaning.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I will say this, somebody's been doing something there, because where are the geese the last week?
Yeah, they haven't been there as much. They're hit or miss,
Yeah,
so.
Maybe
it is.
nobody's feeding them.
Nobody's feeding them, maybe.
Yeah, hopefully.
Maybe nobody's feeding them.
Um,
Something is different.
Well,
Yes.
They do need.
We were all for it.
They do need a plane to land in, apparently, when they fly.
Yes,
So
that's
it's- So you just need to cover.
Well, they don't need it, but
As
Yeah.
they like it.
they like it. The other thing I noticed just driving past, the pond seems very low. I mean, this is digressing slightly. Did you notice?
I think it's low around town because Quill's Pond is low
Oh, yeah,
as
everything's
well.
low. We've
Just-
had almost no precipitation for a
Well,
month.
that'll change tomorrow.
Humans.
That'll change tomorrow and
Not much.
Thursday and Friday, I guess it is.
Not much.
Supposed to get a quarter inch last night.
Yes,
I don't think
we did get a quarter.
You did?
We got
Yeah.
0.32, but they
Oh.
forecast 0.6 or 0.7,
Mm.
so it was way off, yeah.
I've just got a point on the flagpole, following up on Fred's. I did stick a screwdriver in the bottom and it
Oh,
went
since?
right in. Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
I'm afraid it is as rotten as, you're right, it's as rotten
Yeah,
as can
yeah.
be. And therefore, it's
How far up though did you stick it in? Just
About
at the bottom?
the bottom bit. But
Yeah.
remember the straps holding it up.
Yeah.
It's,
Oh, yeah, I
it's
know.
only a couple of feet up.
That's right.
So
That bottom one, if that gives, the whole thing
nothing
comes down, yeah.
So it is something that does need to be addressed.
And you had a good suggestion.
Reported.
It's short, if you're shorting it by
yeah,
3
2
feet, it
yeah.
isn't gonna make an awful lot of difference, right?
No, not at all.
You could get rid of the rot that way.
And it's squared up quite
Yeah.
high, so,
Yeah,
so
right.
it wouldn't be a big deal. Okay, right, moving on. No other action points to be followed up on
I think so.
before we get to the trees bit.
Other than you already followed up on the public hearing to public forum.
Yeah, I gave everybody a copy of that just so that,
You did? Oh, just now?
yeah.
Yes.
Notice it says revision. So it's really the last sentence that was changed to 2 public meetings instead of 2 public hearings.
Right.
Okay, the rest of the meetings don't have to be public. Oh, no, that's not true. Yeah, good. Good, that's settled.
And then one other thing I'd like to share is, I wanna just double check before we go, what time on the 26th, because I have to book, I'm trying to book the room at the library. For the first,
I think you
Didn't
were
we
talking
settle
about
on
10 in the
that?
morning.
Yeah.
Thought we
10
settled on
a.m.
the
I
time at
just
10,
wanted
yeah,
to
right, we
make sure,
did.
I don't wanna book the room and then change it and mess up somebody else, so I
Oh.
just,
Does that still work for everyone? Does for me?
Yeah, 10 a.m. sounds good.
okay, great.
Okay.
And I'll just follow up with Erin tomorrow.
9's too soon
26.
and 11's too late. 10 a.m. is right.
October.
Awesome, cause I had her have a hold on it, just so, I told her I'd tell her tomorrow.
And you said there's a meeting space, is that here or will it be at
This
the
will be at the
elementary school?
library,
Oh, okay.
it's at the library, which is
Yep, in
right
that,
around the
that meeting
corner,
room, yeah.
in the Lois M. Anderson Community Room,
How
which,
many does it
it's quite a good
Oh
size.
gosh, you could put 50 people
How
in there
many do
easy.
you anticipate?
12.
I don't know, a lot of people showed up for
5
the Green
anyways.
ER meeting.
That's true.
There was a ton of people.
It would probably hold, don't you think, the same amount it was as the hearing room?
Yeah.
Oh, more.
Yeah.
More.
Yeah.
So,
More.
but is
More.
it,
It's
it's
much
a,
bigger.
it's a
bigger
bit
enough
more
as well.
of a relaxed
Yeah.
atmosphere, it's not
It's
like
nice.
rows of chairs, cause we have to
Yeah, yeah.
set
It's
it
twice
up,
the size of
so.
that one.
So
I thought
we
so, but I don't
providing
like to.
coffee and something just to make the atmosphere a little bit
I was
more
wondering that myself, so.
conducive to discussion rather than a hearing. You see what I mean? It's,
Yeah.
which I'm going on and just
I'm happy to pick
Bring
up
something.
something,
I'm
just
happy
thinking
as well.
through. Changing Tide Donuts is really good.
Yeah.
They don't have munchkins, but we could cut
Yeah.
them into
And
quarters.
it provides more of a convivial
A relaxed
attitude
atmosphere
rather
too, yeah.
than
Oh,
a
and the way it makes sense.
confrontational attitude.
Yeah,
if you
we've
like.
done, I mean, the Historic Commission's had a few things, we've usually provided a few
Yeah.
little, you know, like apple
Bring some
cider and
brownies
some,
and stuff.
and baked goods or,
And the library are happy that if we did that.
no problem, yeah, there's no problem with that. Because, have you been in the library here? It's right around the
No,
corner.
not this one here.
It's small, but it's fine for us, but the room is off to the side.
The library
Yeah.
is huge.
Well, I
What do
come
you mean
from Melrose,
small?
we have 3 floors.
For a town of
Okay.
Newbury,
Well, that's
it's
why I
huge.
said it's fine for us, yeah, but I mean, even
So-
Newburyport's bigger than, but it's,
Oh,
but we're
well, yeah,
fine.
you got 18,000
It's
people
not-
versus 7.
You
Right.
know, it's not, you know,
But they wouldn't
stab
have,
in the-
they wouldn't have a
so
problem
when you go
us-
into the library itself,
Get
there's
you.
a vestibule type
Right.
area, and then you
Off
go
to the
into
left.
the doors where
On the left.
there's
Off to the
the
left.
books and all of that. So this is over this side, and it was made for meetings,
Oh,
pretty
okay,
much.
in which case,
Yeah.
fine, and they wouldn't have a problem with us.
No, they even have a little kitchen area,
Okay,
so
fine,
yeah.
we'll
So do we wanna split, and I'm happy to take whichever one people don't want, we could split, someone brings baked goods, someone brings drinks,
Well,
and someone brings like cups,
Now,
plates,
when
napkins.
the town put on the, thing about the town hall and the police station, everybody that brought stuff got reimbursed by the town.
Oh, I'm just thinking of.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have a
Yeah,
problem
'cause-
trying to getting baking something, but, you know, like the coffee and stuff,
Well,
and,
they
No,
actually had a
cider
warrant,
or something like
warrant
that.
signed to reimburse
We
everybody
have
that's
to
brought
find out
their
about that.
Dunkin' Donuts and stuff, so.
I wouldn't, you know, if everybody, you're gonna have so much stuff, you're not gonna have an awful lot of
No.
people.
No,
Yeah,
but it just
like
sort
a
of-
box of Joe, you know, it's a
Yeah.
Dunkin' Donuts.
lunch,
Yeah.
and it's at that hour in the morning.
I could drink a half of one before the day is over.
Oh, I don't drink coffee, so I can save you some there.
So what do we wanna
Okay.
do? Get a box of Joe?
Yeah,
Sure, who wants to cover that?
and some munchkins.
Yeah, I'll get some.
You'll get
I'll
cider, you
get a
said?
big flagon, yeah, because.
Gallons is probably more than enough.
Rum and cider.
I'll make something baked. I'll
Yeah,
bake something.
Nancy will make some.
Yeah.
Um,
You don't want me to make anything.
No, we'd like to eat.
I'm happy to bring cups, plates, napkins then.
That's good. And then we're good.
No, good, because that's something you can take back.
Right, yes.
No, really.
Yeah.
The structure of the forum,
Yeah.
we need to, because I think one ought to actually say something to the assembled audience, exactly what the brief is. And sort of-
Yes.
Well, we have our ideas, which we've already put out.
Mhm.
Yes,
Yeah,
but
we've
I
already-
mean, yes, they are there, but I mean, to crystallise in front of them and actually say that
Or
this is what we're proposing, bring these in there, and then, because that starts the discussion off rather than just saying any questions.
Right.
So I
it's-
think, and I think it'd be quite good sort of doing two by one, the history, so that they get the backdrop of backstory about what is this green all about, its history, because a lot of people may not know it has a huge
You'd
history.
think that after all the stuff we did with the greedy, that people would know,
Well,
but
Pretty much true.
I can provide you with anything that you might need, cause
Yeah.
I've probably printed
Printed it
and
out
done things
before.
out about 43 times.
Yeah, I mean, I think you do a very sort of quick thing just to say, look, the history of the green is this, and we go through just a few points,
Mm.
a lot, and then what has happened to it, and then what we propose, and then, right, discussion.
Mhm.
Does that sound?
It does. The
It
only
gets-
thing that will be a sub-bullet too, when it comes to the trees, we should discuss when we get there, and maybe we go one by one to
Yeah.
make sure we're aligned with what
Oh,
it
yeah.
is, just what we are
Yeah.
gonna outline for them, and if there are pictures or materials we need to present.
Right, we do that, because otherwise it can all go off onto tangents, people get
Oh,
on
have you
there.
been at meetings before with us?
I do enough of
Well,
the
as
town
far as
ones now.
pictures, we can probably
Yeah,
just
and I
look
think-
on the internet and get pictures
Yeah,
of the
Oh, yeah.
different trees that,
I think we do,
that
yeah,
Tim
get
has,
pictures so they can see
Yeah.
what we're talking about here, particularly with the trees that you kindly got, which I did look up every single one.
Yeah, I did too.
Good.
So for the history, is it worth, since I assume that we won't be meeting again in advance, is it worth quickly discussing like what are the couple history points that we wanna hit? And who is going
Or do
to
we
cover
wanna-
that piece of the agenda?
let's see, October 26th, that's a Saturday.
Yeah.
Do you wanna meet before that, just to confirm and
Yeah, we could do
get
that too.
everything
Just
together, or
get
is
through
that too many meetings?
You can be, well, because my concern is, we all agree what needs to be done, but who's gonna do it? I mean, we gotta have one person
Speaking?
speak, And,
Our chairperson?
well, our chairperson has a bit of an accent, and he's soft-spoken.
Oh, all right, that's right,
He
okay.
wants
But-
them to pay attention.
But
Yes.
if it's a small enough crowd,
That
it'll
is a
work.
good strategy.
Yeah.
I'm happy to do it, I mean, but,
Yeah.
no problem at all, but yes, this is the right, that's a good point, this is the right sort of thing. I
It
mean,
might
one
make
has-
sense since it's gonna be in pieces.
To
I
do
feel
it
like we could do,
Yeah.
people hit
Over
Yeah,
to-
you could.
over
Like
to
someone
the
hits
events of the
history.
Right.
because you know the history, and then if there's, and then the charge, and then we come up with the ideas, so you actually have sort of 3 parts, something like that.
Would you be comfortable covering the history?
Oh, yeah, I just have to, I had to send something to the Board of Selectmen when the Greenie
Yeah.
thing first started in
Right, and you-
16,
Yeah,
17.
and it's
Yeah.
your,
So I have it down
it's
as
your
your,
speciality, as you
That's
probably know more about it
Which we would hope I know something, I mean, not being sarcastic, but you probably know as much as I do.
Yeah.
If
About the old stuff, probably, yeah, I mean, yeah.
All the
than.
history.
But I think,
But I
I think
just-
it puts the context,
Yeah,
what
yeah,
the
yeah.
whole thing's all about.
And why we're bothering.
Absolutely,
yeah,
yeah,
and-
why were you
The
here?
importance of it, yeah.
Yes, and I think it also stems from any sort of people who have some niggling things, you've actually set the back story about what the whole thing's all about, so that people don't say, well, we should turn it into a parking lot or something, you know, if that's something they want to do, you know, they may even say that anyway. But you know, so, because it's an open forum, they can say anything they like.
Oh,
And we
absolutely.
have to record it.
Unlike-
Whereas if you
Unlike
set
China,
the
free
agenda,
speech.
where you have set the agenda completely that this is what we're doing, this is the history, this is what it's all about, this is where we're going, it sort of gets away from any of that sort of static and noise about things that.
The back of my head was thinking, when I saw Tim's list, because obviously there are no photos, and I did not have a chance to look them all up, that if we found photos of all of them online, which I'm sure is not at all difficult, and if we print them out even on like 11 by 17 is probably, it's the size of that calendar practically, the old wall
Yep,
thing there.
yep.
That should be big enough, not like, do we need poster board? I mean,
No.
PowerPoints.
But when you get the trees, like, yeah,
Do they have
I had a lot of comments on the trees.
Okay, well, that's.
Do you wanna get to that at this point, or?
No, just finish the structure of the meeting. I think it's good that they have visual display of something, whether it's what they are, because I have some problems with some of them as well, by the way. But that's but that's all right. I mean,
Oh, there was
it's-
some
it's
things
there.
missing that should have been included here.
So I think definitely that even some pictures of the current green, but most people know.
so the history, which Dan will take, and then I imagine that we'll outline one by one the different points, and on each can have a, you know, obviously open forum, people can weigh in, and some of these, and maybe it is worth, once we finish going through the agenda overall, to hit each one, and we can just make sure that we're aligned on which ones we're writing down, and if they have a subsection like the trees, well,
Yeah.
Well, we don't wanna
Okay.
prejudice them too much either.
No,
You want
no.
people to, you know, comment what they're gonna say, you don't wanna get them pointed in a direction when you wanna hear everything they have to say.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, we're just providing the backdrop.
We're providing what we've found, yeah.
Yes, yeah, and they may come up with ideas we haven't thought about, which
Right.
is exactly what it's about. Okay.
But that's fine, but still, who's doing what? Is
Okay.
somebody gonna draw this up and then
Yes, we
we'll
need
discuss
to-
it at the next meeting?
Yes,
Okay.
we'll,
Are you drawing this up? Sounds like it.
I can sort of sketch out, because it's not going to be very long, I mean.
No, it shouldn't be, absolutely
I mean,
not.
otherwise,
That is a problem I
otherwise
have
we're
with-
lecturing them, and that's
That's
not what
right,
it's all
that's
about.
what, a lot of these meetings end up being, and that is not good.
No, and
That's
this is
right.
just,
that's why it's supposed to be an
Providing-
open forum.
it's just a little introduction, provide the context, so that they're focused on exactly why we're here and what it's all about, that's the only thing, and then you wade in.
Yeah.
So I guess my question then is, to see what everybody else thinks, The wish list that Amelia has put in our last month's meeting,
Yeah,
that it seems like it wouldn't be a bad idea to maybe we could maybe have a handout with these are the things we're looking at,
Yep.
so.
yeah, you
right.
could do that.
Right?
And that's effectively
Shortening
being,
all that stuff,
being,
yeah.
being like talking about
Yeah.
it. We actually say,
No, the
you know,
next
we'll,
one.
we're handing it out,
Excellent,
just give you
yeah,
the whole thing, and
excellent,
Do
that would
it on-
shorten it up.
also have them all
This
on
is
just one
something
sheet.
that-
Yeah, see the nice
All-
long list
yeah,
too,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, and I wonder if it's worthwhile to, although it might have a lot of paper, if we have that handout, we could also like just have regular sheets of paper, 2 trees per page, and just have that be part of the packet, unless people think that's too much paper wasted.
How many trees we got?
Oh, we've got a lot
Four.
of trees there, but we'll get into discussing it.
8, 9 of them.
Yeah,
So
and as,
4
and
or
as
5
Tim,
pages?
Tim said, these are native trees that would be suitable.
Well, native to some parts of this country, but not necessarily here.
Yeah, yes, I have
That one isn't.
So I think he wanted to make as many choices
Well, he
available
didn't,
or
but he didn't.
suggestions. So,
He didn't.
You have an idea of
What,
something
what are we
different?
missing?
Yeah.
Let's just do,
Obviously.
what are we
Well,
missing?
Well, what are we missing? Number one, lindens.
Yes.
Lindens aren't on
Tree,
here.
yeah,
Linden
that's
is
good.
a very common street tree,
Yeah.
and it is salt tolerant, and it's an excellent tree.
Okay.
It's fast growing, it doesn't get huge. I don't know why it isn't on there.
Okay.
well, I'm sure to
He
be fair, it's,
he talked about
a
the
lot of
resistant
them.
type of elms. He didn't include them in here. I don't know how come he didn't. He talked about them a lot, remember?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, this linden is pretty,
yeah.
Tupelos, they're a big,
Yeah.
tall tree.
how do you spell that?
Tupelo?
Tupelo, yeah. They're a big, tall tree, and they're native to just about Boston. They really aren't native here, but they're very close to being native here. They're a big, tall tree, and they're a lovely, but they're tall. They couldn't put them near a wire.
Really, pawpaw's not
Oh,
native.
yeah, that's a really
Yeah.
pretty tree too.
Yeah, well, pawpaw
Is,
is related to, what, tupelo, right?
is it, yeah, well, this one, I looked up this one, and it grows as far as like North Carolina,
Yeah.
Virginia, maybe.
Yeah.
I think it was rather odd to have it.
And mulberry trees are native here. He didn't mention mulberries.
Yeah, mulberries.
Mulberry is, I have several on my property which grow wild, and they're not a large tree. They get maybe at the most 30 feet high. Tall.
You're talking about stuff for the perimeter or
Yeah.
inside the
Perimeter, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, probably pretty good near wires because they don't get too tall, and lindens don't get too tall. He didn't mention honey locust.
Oh, yes.
Now, locust
They're
trees-
all over Newbury.
Well, locust trees. Oh, yeah, they probably are.
Yeah.
Locust trees, you know, they have these big pods and they're a pain in the neck. But honey locust, in particular, shade master honey locust,
Yeah.
don't have pods, and I used to have 2, now I have 1, because 1 got too big. But they don't get huge, and they have a little small leaf. They're great, you don't have to rake under them, they're clean tree, and they provide light shade instead of heavy dense shade like a maple does. They're a great tree, and he didn't include them. And then he said he didn't include any oaks because of the bugs, you know, the
Oh,
caterpillars.
yeah,
But white oak are not bothered by those. And I don't know how come he didn't include white oak.
Well, that's probably part of that, there are
Those are the
some that
ones
are
that I
less
wondered
susceptible.
about. And then I took the liberty this afternoon to do a little tour. And I went over to Rowley Common, and I wanted to see what they had planted over there, and they had planted elm trees, but they weren't American elms,
Oh,
and they
were
weren't the kind of elm that's in Newburyport either. I don't know what they were.
Yeah, there is a name for it. The cloned, I think they come from China or somewhere.
No, they weren't. They weren't that kind. They had a regular elm leaf. Those elm trees up in the mall up there do not have a leaf at all similar to an elm. These had an elm leaf, but they weren't shaped like an elm tree, so I don't know what they have. But they had ash, linden, sycamore, and red maple. I went over to Georgetown. I don't know if you're familiar with that little hole, and there used to be a hole over in Georgetown that they filled and made a park. they're all red maple, which I wouldn't recommend all the same kind of tree, but they're all red maples. West Newbury over at the training ground, they had mostly red maples. There's not a lot of trees in there, but mostly red maples, a dying American elm, a spruce tree, and another one of these trees, or elm-like trees that they had in Rowley. So that's what's around the area. Not that we have to have the same thing.
Would they,
But-
you're talking they were recently planted, or
Yeah.
they're pretty well,
Oh, and the West Newbury?
yeah.
No, most of those had been there a while. So there was one or two that were fairly new, but most of them have been there a while. But I'm just looking at what was in these places, these abutting towns. I didn't include Newburyport because I figured Newburyport is a city and they're gonna have more city kind of trees. It was interesting to me that Rowley had sycamores because you equate those usually with a city.
See, Salisbury just did their green over in the center
Yeah,
of town.
yeah.
They planted a whole bunch of trees.
Did they?
I'll look into them too.
I didn't see that, I didn't
Yeah,
check
by the,
that.
in front of the library area, yeah.
Yeah, they just did that whole thing over last year.
I didn't check that.
But I suppose this wasn't an exhaustive list anyway, it was just a starting point, and
Mm.
he did, so.
Yeah, and I thought, well, maybe, what about beech trees? Well, I figured beech trees have these shallow roots that would be a bugger to mow around. I think that's why he didn't keep those on there, or put those on there.
But then, with any luck at all, he will also be available at the,
Right, to comment on them. I mean, but also if it gets too long, I mean, it's
But he's got, on his list, he's got
big.
fringe tree, which the range of fringe tree doesn't even get to New York City, so. Normal range of it. American smoke tree, that's
Yeah.
a city tree.
Yeah.
Some of these I'm not familiar with, but,
Oh, you look at them. There are quite a lot of flowering type trees as well.
Yeah, there were a lot of
There's
flower
A lot of,
yes, I noticed that.
And I thought-
Were we really after that? No.
a few, but not the
Yeah,
whole
but
thing.
on the
yeah.
perimeter trees,
Yeah.
you're looking for shade trees.
I'm wondering if, because he had talked about a lot of trees in the meeting, if this was more trees
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
in
maybe.
retrospect, cause he had,
Right.
we have him on camera with the, when we were talking about the different trees after the
The
war.
almond,
Right.
yeah.
And he was
Right.
talking on the green about different trees, so I'm thinking maybe this was an additional list to that
Maybe you're
list.
right, cause
Yeah.
there's not much duplication, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so.
no, that's.
Now, when I'm
that's
looking
right.
at it, I'm thinking, yeah, he was talking about this, that, and the other
Yeah,
thing, and
yeah.
none of them are on here, so I'm thinking, these were additional, he said he was gonna look at other
Yeah,
varieties that, that might be, work on the green, so maybe that's what it was.
well, that's a good thing to ask the crowd, you know, what do
Yeah.
they think for types of trees? Are any of them familiar with trees and what types would they
Yeah.
favor?
And that's why the pictures are quite, helps as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think, the idea you can sort of stick them all around the wall. or
that's what
something.
I was thinking,
Yeah.
almost like, not to say it, but almost like kindergarten class.
Absolutely, yeah.
Instead of putting the
It's that one
ABCs
there,
around,
yeah.
we're gonna
Yeah.
we'll put trees around, and
Yeah.
Well, that's a
Because-
printer that can do a cage
Yeah.
that big though.
we do, here.
Yeah. Oh, well, yes.
I work here, and it is a town function, so
Certainly.
Right.
there's a color printer right here that will
Yeah,
print that
and I
big.
think that's a good thing, and you can just sort of tabulate.
So
what
what, you
percent.
would come in on your own time and go in the computer and find pictures of the different trees?
Well, if anybody sees any and emails them to me, I can, in a PDF, I can just send them, print them up from downstairs.
Plenty on the internet. I'm
So,
sure.
Yeah.
I think
Is
it's a very
it
good idea.
worth, because this is a long list and it sounds like there's some that we would be inclined to cut, and
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
keeping it a little bit more narrow maybe
Yeah.
for a better discussion.
Yeah.
Is it worth going one by one,
It is.
going through your ads and
Yeah, there
seeing
were
which we
some,
wanna
you're
put
right,
on the
that
list?
they're not in this area, not readily found in this area. I mean, they are native to the United States. I
And
think.
some that we may wanna cut since there's so many flower trees, maybe we wanna cut
Yes.
some of those.
Yeah, right, well, let's make a list.
Okay.
Red
Okay.
maple, that's easy,
Yeah.
that should be in there, that's for sure.
Question on the red maple, just as I was looking at the pictures, in the spring and the summer, is that a green leaf or is that the
Green,
type
green,
that?
Green, it's
Okay.
green leaf.
Yeah,
Okay.
Oh, you're talking, that's a different type of red maple you're
are
talking.
those the
Yeah.
little leaves?
No,
The-
no, they're big
Which
maple.
Which ones are the
leaves.
little red leaves? What tree is that? They're only
Oh,
about
those
this
are the
big.
Japanese maples.
Definitely, yeah.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah,
Okay, very
Japanese
good.
ace, yeah, I've got one of those.
Okay, so
Okay,
red
so
maple.
we'll drink
Yeah.
that.
Now, shadblow really is more of a bush than a tree.
Yes.
I mean, it is pretty,
only
and it would be
15.
great, it would be great maybe near a
And it's,
monument or something, but
I think he had talked about those two as being like around the monuments, like
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
an ornamental tree as opposed to
Yeah.
the perimeter trees.
yeah, and I love
Well,
shadblow, I
he
love
was
it.
trying to do the ball field to the, let's just say the police station, or town hall at this
Yeah, yeah.
point, with things that weren't gonna hit the wires.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So-
but shade,
yes.
not flower.
And
Yeah.
also, yeah, it wouldn't go up to the wire. That's a very good point.
So perhaps this one we exclude, because I don't think that we would need the town to weigh in on like the flowers by the monuments. Does that seem excessive? I feel like I would be happy with people planting whatever flowers by
Yeah,
the monuments.
no.
No, we don't have to go into that.
Yes.
I think the main concerns are the flagpole, the trees, and the pond, I think.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and, yeah, and the
And the
soil.
ball field
Yeah.
has
The
to
soil.
stay
Cleaning
where
up
it
the
is,
ball
and there's your
field.
historic stuff.
And cleaning it up.
Yeah.
Okay, so I won't add that to
By
this.
the way,
Okay.
I watched the ball game at the little farm this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the
and,
old fashioned one?
And it's faced exactly opposite, and they were having an awful time in the outfield trying to catch the ball because of the blinding
That's
sun.
fine.
So there's really no big advantage to turning that field
Well,
around.
that's what I said, who's gonna, is it gonna be easier to pitch?
I mean, the guys
or
are like
easier
this,
to-
the
or
guys
easier
like
to
this.
Yeah, yeah,
Woods and-
yes. Yeah, that's,
I keep trying to get there and I never get there to see
That's
that.
great.
I just
Okay.
wanna go see it.
Well, that is great.
Okay, let's
I
not,
thought the pawpaw was difficult, would be difficult to grow up.
Okay, yeah,
I also thought it was really ugly.
yeah.
I sort of tend to agree with these,
and it's gonna be out your window, so.
Now, I'm not familiar with the sweet birch. I know what a white birch is, and that is definitely not appropriate to a park, because the kids grab the bark and peel it off and kill the tree, yeah, right?
No, I don't think it has that paper bark. I think it's vertical barking. sort of
Okay, it's
thing. I think,
more like a river birch
This is
then.
the tree I'm working on
Yes.
this weekend.
yeah.
Okay.
Really fun to put together.
So I thought that one was all right.
Yeah,
I
okay,
agree.
that one's okay.
Yep.
Okay.
What's on the list, the sweet?
Yep, sweet.
And a red bud, that's
Red bud.
another flowering tree,
Yes.
Yeah, so I'll keep that off the list.
which is not really for the perimeter anyway.
No.
Okay.
And the fringe tree, no, not around.
Yeah.
20 feet.
And the smoke tree is a city tree.
Yeah.
And the
Did we decide the
hornbeam,
shad below before I turn the page? It was the second from the
What's that?
top.
That's
No,
cut.
That's cut.
Okay.
more like
Just
a
wanna see
bush.
what I'm
Okay,
cutting,
the
yeah, alright.
eastern hop hornbeam.
no, I'm not familiar with that.
No, I'm not either. I did have a look at it quickly. But,
Smoke trees scrapped,
yeah.
the first one is.
Smoke trees has that funny. I mean, it's like a sort of misty look. It looks like
Really?
huge.
That's what it says, it looks smoky,
Yeah, it does look like it's.
Oh, the smoke
very
tree.
weird,
Yeah.
Yeah.
hence its name.
It's an
It's-
garden ornamental
What are
tree.
we looking
Yeah,
at?
right.
This is the
That's what it is.
hornbeam, eastern.
The hornbeams are actually quite good trees.
Yeah,
I
they're a
don't
good
know.
tree.
I don't know this particular one, but
Then leave that one in there.
Okay.
And the sourwood, I have no
Oh,
idea
I've
what
seen
that
those
is.
leaves.
What's sourwood?
I don't know. I wrote that I thought it was ugly, but let's see.
White lily of the valley, like
Oh,
flower.
I love these
and
high-tech
lake
people, look at this.
light.
I'm no tech.
Sourwood, oxy.
Birds like to nest.
Hmm.
Tolerates dry soil but not salt exposure.
Which one's that?
The sourwood.
The popcorn
Sort of a weird
beans
looking
doesn't
tree.
like salt either.
Yeah, he
Oh
said
yeah,
that.
can be bothered by road salt.
Yeah.
Plus, most of them can really. I mean, elm trees are very
Okay.
susceptible to it.
This is the
Trying to
tree.
avoid it by
Yeah,
moving,
you move
moving
the-
those perimeter trees.
Yeah,
within
right.
30 feet.
Oh, I think I've seen those somewhere.
what is it?
I don't know that that's the most, I didn't really like the way the leaves looked,
I
but
don't like
That
that.
looks Asian.
Droopy.
That looks Asian or something, it
No, I
doesn't.
don't know. It doesn't
No,
look.
no,
That's the hornbeam?
No, that's a
Sourwood.
sourwood.
Oh, the sourwood.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
I know
don't
sourwood.
I don't know that.
That's not a,
Jumps,
But
that's
then
more
the-
like an ornamental tree
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you would have in your.
There are quite a lot of these were ornamental stuff.
But then the linden,
Linden's not a is a natural, it's a
lindens,
proper tree.
oh, they're a native tree, oh yeah, they're all over the place around here, yeah. But then again, so are ash trees, and they weren't native here, but they got brought in.
The linden
But
tree.
when they got the borers,
Spread like
the ash
gangbusters.
borers, they ruined them.
Yeah,
Okay, so linden tree will
and
get
as he
added.
says, they're all gonna go when this bug gets here,
Yeah.
they're all gonna get eaten.
And then you mentioned the tupelo. You
Yeah,
wanna add that one?
I don't.
that's a big tree, but it's a nice tree. On the backside where there's no,
Which
no
one?
wires,
We've got colors here.
Yes.
Tupelo?
Well, there were trees along there originally, weren't there?
oh, on the, oh yes, on the other side of the ball field,
Right,
yeah,
yeah.
oh yeah, that was
But
all
they've
trees.
been long since.
Yeah,
So do we wanna add the tupelo?
Oh, that's
gotta
pretty.
get a picture of it, I
See,
guess.
there was another red, so you don't want too many
Is
red.
that the right one? That's what's
But I
pulling
like
that.
that.
Well, it's green during the year.
Oh, I see, that's just its full,
I mean, that's pretty.
yeah, it is, absolutely.
Yeah,
Alright,
they're a
I
nice
mean, if
tree.
they don't grow too tall,
They do,
then-
they grow 80 feet.
well
I
then,
think, what's it say, I know they do grow 80 feet.
where are we
so-
putting those?
Well, I don't know.
No, I mean,
What
I'm
was
just,
there were elm trees.
but
They grow 80 to 100 feet,
are
yeah.
the wires on the opposite side of,
Well, we're not,
Green?
we're not
Yeah.
no, I'm
trying to
just,
figure out what goes
no,
where
I'm
at
just
this
trying
point.
to think of, we're trying to keep things that won't get too big on the 1A
Wires,
side.
Right,
But where
The
the
other
gas
side.
stations curve, if there's
Yeah.
anything needed there, I suppose, is if
Are
they
there
grow
wires along
up,
that side?
those were pretty healthy up at that.
they were, and
Yeah.
then, Hanover.
Yeah.
Where are the wires on Hanover?
That's a question I don't have the answer to off the top of my
I
head.
can't remember.
Hey, here we go,
I can't
resident.
I don't know.
You don't remember either. I think they're on the other side,
You
but
know,
I'm not sure.
You look at them all the time and you
I'm
don't
pretty
think
sure
about
there's
it.
no poles. I think they're on the other side.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
think
I
there
don't
are
remember
any
seeing a
poles
pole.
either.
Cause
I can't-
that whole strip where people have been parking where the tree
Oh, yeah,
stumps
there are no
are, there's
poles, are there?
nothing
That's
there,
right.
right?
Right,
So-
right, they're not there,
Yeah.
the wires are on the other side.
Yeah.
So,
We can do that.
we
Yeah.
could do
I mean,
tall trees there,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I would prefer we plant trees that we aren't gonna have to worry about them having to keep getting cut
Cut
through
back,
for
yeah.
wires and make their
Right,
shapes
right,
so
exactly,
ugly.
exactly.
Yeah, that's what
Seems to
ruins
defeat the
them.
purpose.
Yeah,
And the honey locust is a
That's a good tree.
beautiful tree.
okay.
I love them.
Honey
love-
locust.
We use
So
those,
what are
we
we
use
looking
those
at
in,
here?
in
Honey
Malden a
locust?
lot.
How big would you
I
say
have
those
to
grow?
be-
They grow, they'll get, 40 feet, but they don't get huge.
Okay.
And I'm biased towards.
They are pretty
mulberries.
fast growing too, so you plant them, they provide shade pretty
I
quickly.
get a bunch of them on my land.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they're good.
And were you just saying mulberry? Is that
I'm
what you
biased
said?
towards mulberries, I like them.
Yeah, the
Right,
mulberry
they're
tree is
very-
it's a very native
very-
tree here.
And very, very sort of thick foliage as well, and it's sort of like
When the first settlers came here, the hills of Ipswich, which are all houses now done, were all mulberries. So they're a very native tree.
How tall would you say those grow?
they go,
Um,
can
I-
grow pretty big.
I have a mature one on my property, it's not that big, what is it, maybe 25 feet. It's not too big.
Mature at 20.
Pardon? Yeah, it's not too big.
Okay.
That's it.
25 feet isn't very big.
But anyway,
For a tree.
yep.
Maybe 30, it might be 30 feet. But it's not
Okay,
too big.
so that's.
The only problem with them is they have a lot of fruit,
Yeah,
but it
Which
drops,
goes all
and it's not,
sticky
it's
and
only
drops.
about, the size
Yeah.
of your fingernail, But boy, the birds love it.
oh yeah.
Okay, so we currently have a list of
And
7.
then I had the question about the white oak.
Oh, I don't, but I don't.
It's another huge tree. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like a
Big.
tupelo.
Although oaks, I always think of oaks as being like not as nice of a tree. I don't know why. I
Well, they
feel
have
that
big
way.
leaf, white oak don't have the size leaves that red oaks have. A white oak leaf is about like this, whereas a red oak is like this,
Yeah.
twice the size.
I don't think they're as pretty as like the maples and some of the
No,
others.
no, they don't turn the color, no, they just turn brown in the fall.
I I'd be inclined,
Like
especially
rock.
given his comment around.
Okay, I can,
loss.
we can drop that.
It's a fast growing tree according to Google.
Oh,
White oak.
that could-
Yeah.
that's,
It says fast growing?
It says right on it.
it's very- it goes against,
Maybe that's the name of the place,
Yeah.
fast growing trees, but
it goes against what an oak is, it's only a slow
white
growing
oak
tree.
trees, white oak trees.
But that gives us a good sort of thing. And-
That's a
and
wide
the-
selection, yeah.
The audience may throw up some other
That's right.
things we need to.
Yeah.
And they may say, we don't want those in front of my house.
Open
Right.
suggestions. Okay, alright, so we've got our tree list.
Okay,
Right, yeah, I guess we wore out the trees, so now you got a tree.
Wow, that's a big tree.
Okay.
While we're on the trees,
what,
You're a big tree.
white oak? Wow,
That's
That's
a
a big
honking
tree.
tree.
That's a big tree,
that's, yeah, but that's probably several hundred years old,
yeah,
because they do,
I don't know.
they
yeah,
age.
it probably is.
Images shown are of mature plants. Seriously. Really?
Mature plant, 120 feet tall.
Oh, they have little acorn things.
Yes, of course they have acorns, they're an oak,
Yeah,
but they aren't the
Oh,
huge
yeah,
acorns.
white oak.
They aren't as big as a
Oh,
red oak's acorns.
okay,
Were
good
you gonna
stuff.
mention something else on the
What?
trees?
Oh, I love,
just, the follow-up of Tim getting the notice out for the town to come in and trim the ones that are there and inspect them. He was gonna look down inside and see what's rotten and what's gotta come out. But
right,
the initial thing he was talking about was getting them trimmed back, to get rid of the dead wood and,
Yeah, and
has he-
also the approval, because some of them are not, may not be up to us to trim, right, because they were on
the
the
ones
state
along,
highway, yeah.
on 1A. yeah.
they was
I don't know
trying to
which-
find where
I
that line
thought,
was.
I thought he was gonna do that, was he, or?
Yeah, but I don't know what the update is on that.
Hmm.
No.
The only thing that I do recall, I don't remember exactly when the approval was coming, he might already have the approval, but he mentioned that actually doing the work, he thought the winter would be a good time since
Yeah.
they're less busy, so I don't think that that will happen for a bit.
It would be a good note to make at the presentation.
Yeah.
You know, that Tim is, gonna be looking into trimming them back and.
Right, yes, doing maintenance, basically.
There are a few branches, and I went down to the muster there a couple of weeks ago, and they're checking them out even closer than when we did the walk around.
Yeah.
There's some stuff in there that's pretty treacherous looking.
Yeah, I missed the muster, I had to pick between that and boat races at Kingston, so I went to the boat races. So I didn't miss the muster and I didn't do the, I checked the trees pretty well, so.
Mm.
Yeah, that's a good point, and we can also note that when he does that, he'll make an assessment of which ones are too far gone to be salvaged.
Right.
Yeah, that's something he was gonna do when they went up in the bucket, he said as they're trimming, they can see if they're hollow.
right on the
if they're-
inside.
Yeah. So,
But that goes into history again. I hate to change the subject, but he mentioned the muster. And, you know, the history of the green in the 50s and 60s anyway, there were a lot of events that were held on the green, and today there aren't. And it would be nice if that green was used more for the public, you know, for those kinds of things. I mean, we don't have a private fire department anymore, but when we did, the Old Town version of it, that's how they raised their money. They had carnivals there,
Yeah. Yep.
they had carnivals there every year,
Oh, that sounds fun.
and it was pretty neat.
I mean, I think,
It could be something to do with liability insurance and
Yeah.
stuff, the way everybody's suit
I don't
happens
think so, the
these
town has
days.
changed.
That's true.
yes,
It's
and they-
changed. But it would be nice, it's,
The world has
it is,
changed.
I mean, it's not conducive with all the geese there and the mess and everything. It's
you're not
it's
kidding.
all, and the pond is sort of I mean.
Well, they used to have
with all
canoe tilts on the pond. Yeah, yeah, jousting, they had these
Right.
I
jousting.
knew they did that at the Mall, I didn't know.
Oh, yeah.
Frog
There
Park.
you go.
And they did it in Newbury first.
It doesn't seem like there's enough pond.
No.
It's not
I
deep
know, but
enough.
they did it.
So
Yeah.
Were they
Now
were they
they-
toy
maybe we,
boats?
No, no, they
maybe
didn't.
we make it nice and inviting for them to start up these things.
Right.
Well, the geese are definitely an item that has to be addressed. And
Oh, while
Yeah.
we're on the geese again?
No, sorry.
Okay, no, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
That bird X, is there any way maybe of contacting the company in Ipswich and seeing if they will give us a demonstration?
No, it was on the, I'll check it out on the
That's an
website.
idea.
It just said it was available from somewhere down there, and that was just okay.
Well,
maybe somebody
this is
in the,
meeting one that we have to have
Right,
two
maybe-
of them, so.
Yeah, yes.
maybe somebody in the crowd will say, "Oh, I know what'll get rid of those geese."
Right.
You never know.
Be awesome.
Maybe somebody will have an idea.
That's a big issue with.
It is a big issue. I guess we
Put
should
it on
make
the
that
agenda
point.
so they can actually
Any
see
of you people
Yeah.
have an
the
input
agenda.
of that? Yeah.
And it's, I know it's steering the meeting, but that's what we're there to, and then
Yeah,
there'll be.
we have to
there'll be-
steer it a little.
Yeah, we have to, otherwise it'll just go through tangent.
Yeah, it can't be a free-for-all.
You want a gavel? I can bring a gavel.
Maybe one.
He's
Right,
more the walk softly and carry a big stick kind of guy.
so, okay, and the other bullet points are all, fairly self-explanatory and stuff that we're gonna put in, I don't think there's, tips and drainage and
I want clean monuments too.
care of the ground and everything else, I think it's all
Yeah, it seems pretty
stuff we
straightforward.
can do.
Well, Tim has some
Okay.
good solutions for the drainage with the gypsum and the liming and stuff, that, something worth trying that wouldn't cost much, so.
Yeah, definitely worth it.
They done already.
Well, one thing that,
That's
one thing that
awesome.
might be worth weighing in, or having the public weigh in on as well, is we obviously, we've got this wish list. A lot of this won't cost that much money, but we do only have a limited budget, so I wonder if it's worth getting input from the public, like top priorities, like things that are top or things that would fall towards the bottom of the list.
I think that's been
Not the first-
established
not the first
already. I
meeting,
don't know if
but-
you wanna
Yeah, I
give
think-
everybody a shot at their own ideas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's probably true.
Um,
And that, it could also come through just from how people are you're probably right.
Yeah.
Like as we go through it, if there's ones that people don't like, that'll come up.
But it does lead to the point that they are going to, some of them are going to say, well, how much is this going to cost, and will it affect me personally in terms of things? So
Yeah.
we have
Well,
to-
that's,
so
we
we
know
have to-
how much we've got to play with, so
Yeah.
people don't know that.
No, well, I'm wondering, that's why I'm sort of thinking,
Well,
do we
that's
tell
how
them
much
that?
we already have
Allocate.
allocated that have been gifts.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
So that's nothing to
That
do
might-
with if money can be moved from free cash into a budget for this or added more to the DPW for them to get tree removal done and things done that would be extra, that normally wouldn't
but the point
be
should be
day to
that
day.
we have this money, and that's what we're gonna use first.
but I think in the sort of introduction, we can set the scene that we have, because they may sort of fear that we're onto a big sort of project and it's gonna cost a lot of money. You actually,
Right.
in the
Right,
setting
well,
of the scene.
If you wanted to
there
do
is-
greener's style, that's right, that was
Yeah.
a lot of money.
Right, exactly, and
Six
I
hundred
think
and
we,
$50,000 they were gonna raise.
yeah, so in the setting of the scene is we say, we have this money,
Yeah.
and indeed.
Yep.
These, whilst the trees is probably the biggest element of it, the rest will be.
Well, I don't know,
But
we'll see.
I agree with that.
Not that many
Including-
trees, I mean, there's a lot of trees there, so.
oh yeah,
I counted
Yeah.
before when I did this in the master plan, I came up with, I think it was either 18 or 19 trees that we needed. Not that
Oh,
many
so,
trees.
okay, and indeed, it's over a period of time, so, you don't necessarily swamp the place in year one, everything, introduce it over time. But I think we do set the scene that there is some money available for this project.
Mhm.
And don't dwell on the thing, which was a raising money issue and all the other things paraphernalia that went with it.
And the money, a big chunk of money that was given to the town, from, family that lived on the backside
And
of
it
the
was,
green.
yes, it was
Right.
a quite.
And it was to improve the green,
Right, I
so,
Was the one,
think, I
sorry?
think,
yeah.
yeah, actually I think that, we should highlight that, this was a bequest specifically for your benefit as users of the green. So.
Yeah, say that, and then say, the town put this committee together to see how best to use the
That
ones,
money, yeah, for your benefit,
money,
yeah.
yes. So it's not like we're gonna go to a special town meeting
Right.
next, at the end of the month, and, we're gonna be looking for dough. It's just in the planning stages and the informational stages.
And I mean, most of the work that's gonna be done is gonna be done by, James and Company.
You know,
Right.
And so it's, it would be a case of maybe for next year, the budget has to get increased to cover certain initial things, but it's not, it shouldn't be
I don't know, we own the equipment, they have usually, I think they have the time.
right, but I mean, if we're gonna get, say, like a large supply of gypsum at first to
Oh.
get, to cover the whole thing, that would be a
That would
little
come.
abnormal. They'd probably just increase their budget for the 1 year by a couple of grand or whatever it might be, not like tens of
Well, I think
thousands of
even
dollars,
That would come out of the
That's right.
benefit money.
Exactly.
so.
Why would that gypsum come right out of, he's right.
Well, I guess it all depends on how much it's gonna end up costing to do a lot
Well,
of
he
these
said it
things.
wasn't very expensive,
Yeah,
so.
it is.
Right, so yeah, so I'm just saying,
It's probably the
Yeah.
manpower to put it down and the machine to spread it and all that, is probably more than the
It's there
gypsum
though,
itself.
it's there.
Mm.
yeah, so I mean, it's not like we're putting in paving and
No,
Oh,
and
heaven
shifting
forbid.
things. So I mean,
Bet you
basically,
won't get much support for that.
our charge is to listen to the townsfolks and we're an advisory committee, we aren't
Yep,
making
yeah, right,
decisions.
right.
The Board of
we're not
Selectmen
spending money.
is
It's
making the
just
final
advice.
decisions,
Right.
not
We are
not
gathering
us.
information on
Yeah,
their
so.
wishes.
Which is for the town's wishes,
Yes,
so,
and we tell them that this is only the first, there's gonna be another one, which will sort of refine it.
yeah, we should
Yeah,
have one right before we're,
The second one, you'd hope we'd have a
Everything.
list.
Yeah,
yeah, so this is all the things that we've come up with from listening to folks, and I'm sure there's no reason that people can't send in information.
Yep.
You have to give them an address to send it.
Well, but they can send it to Ellen and for the board, or send it to the Board of Selectmen and they can forward it down. Either way, or they can send it to
Boy,
the Historical Commission's website.
make up your mind.
page. I mean, but people who wanna contact have no contact.
Yeah.
It's your average citizen who never does those things. So, and while we're speaking, before I forget, asked Tracy if we needed to talk to the board before we, about the meeting, and she said, no. They gave you the
the mandate to.
mandate to
And you
add
got
them.
a clarification, so you're all set.
Yeah,
Just
so
have to advertise
we have
it
to, notify the board,
of the date.
of the date,
Mhm.
and Tim. And, I was also advised that it would be a nice thing to, notify, Mike Hathaway, who had shown interest in this when it first came, when they went to start this advisory. I guess he's landscaping.
Well, he's a
Yeah.
landscaper, but I don't know why you're gonna notify
Well,
one
because he had
landscaper over another.
expressed,
That
well,
was
no, he had
something like-
expressed interest in helping.
Oh,
Yes,
maybe he's
he
a
did, yeah.
volunteer,
Yeah, so,
yeah.
No,
Oh,
he,
we like
I've
volunteers,
spoken to him,
yeah.
I tell you, on separate note, he'd actually offered to give some trees himself. To
And-
the
and Jen's-
cause.
And Jen
But
Solis.
I think he
So
was
we-
slightly.
He's a neighbor,
Who is that?
he
right
was-
down the road.
Yeah, Green
Water
Street.
for the
That's on Green Street, yeah.
That's right. He said he was. He
Need to
wanted
invite
be a
her to the
participant.
forum so she can do a story on it.
At least,
Hopefully she'll post something
In
to
fact,
take
he
for
actually said he
free.
offered some trees
Yeah,
several
she
years
usually
ago, and
does,
they
but-
were
but
rejected.
Well,
I'm
I
not-
offered
I'm
some
notifying
trees,
these
two
people,
trees a couple of years ago from
um,
Lower Green, 2 lindens
so
I
that will
had.
get posted to the town
Tracy rejected
website, get posted in
She
the
wouldn't
paper
have anything to do
for
with it.
those particular things,
Yeah,
unless you're
so
going
he
to not
did the
have
same
them.
for the Upper Green,
Help you
and they
with
were
that.
rejected.
No, that
No,
was
we don't,
awesome.
we don't have to
The whole thing,
post
and
it as a
indeed he
hearing
put
in the
them
paper.
Because
We have to
We still
post
wanna
it
get
as
the
a
word
meeting
out,
because we are a
Yeah.
board that's going, well,
Oh, so
committee.
you're talking about asking Jen if she can do a little
Well,
blurb
we'll
and
notify
it's-
her, or she'll put something in saying that there is
Mhm.
gonna be a forum at the library. And, I'm just gonna send one email blast out, so.
Okay, so you don't mind
But
handling
we
that?
have to also post a meeting as a meeting because we will all be present.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So-
And
Right, so-
what is it, the same 2-week notice period for the,
It's,
No, there's not a
it's-
public
it's-
hearing.
No.
It's not a
No,
public
it's not
hearing.
public.
48
Got that
hours.
clarified.
I got that straightened out, cause,
Oh.
and when I asked the question afterwards, it was like, oh no, we didn't, it's just,
Right,
it's just
right.
they said the word hearing, but it wasn't
Yeah,
like a
right,
hearing
okay.
hearing, so
Right,
it
right.
was just a
Okay,
use of
so-
the wrong phrase, so.
So I can get you the meeting post so that you
Yeah.
can include it in the blast out. And
Yeah.
I'll do that quickly because it probably is good for this where we actually really
So we
want a lot
wanna
of
get this
people to
out
come.
earlier than we
Yeah.
normally would just a meeting,
'Cause we
which
want
is
attendance,
48
yeah.
hours, you have to post it within 48 hours prior to the meeting.
So I'll send this to you either tomorrow or the following day.
when is the meeting?
I'll send it tomorrow.
26th.
6th is October, 26th is Saturday.
Okay.
Be in this country.
Well, we went through all that before we discussed it, I believe.
Yeah, right, we did, we had a long thing about that.
Yeah.
Right.
Is it worth, and I'm happy to do it on a weekend, but posting something at the
Yeah.
libraries
Yeah.
or just to try to get the word out? Okay.
Yeah, we'll put it, I can put it, but Sue will put it up on the town website, also.
Okay. And you had recommended the Newburyport Library too, which is probably a good idea.
Yeah, the old town people use the Newburyport Public Library.
And might, should encourage Plum Island people too, since they are still citizens in town.
Thank you, I
to
know.
come.
Yeah.
We've got the whole town covered. We've
It's
got
still there.
Byfield, Plum
Yeah.
Island, and Old Town, all in this room.
Yeah.
Plum Island is still there,
Yeah,
Yeah.
slowly
and
drifting.
they're on the right path, Old Point Road, that'll be the last to go.
I call it the safe side now. Used to be the
Yeah.
quiet side, now it's the safe
Safe
side.
side, yeah.
That's
That's
right.
Oh, I was down
It's not as
there
quiet
2 hours
anymore.
ago, right on, walking on the beach, no one around, it's very peaceful.
Yeah, it is nice.
Oh, this time of the year? Oh, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Alright.
Very good. Okay, so that's that. And so we have to have another meeting to just nail exactly how we're going to present, specifically how we're going to present to the forum. Which will just be the sort of, that's the main discovery.
Very
bullet
short
points.
synopsis, yeah.
Yeah, and the copies of the pictures, they're all happy.
Oh,
with.
Yeah, we'll have the pictures all done,
And,
just to,
and the bullet points, the pictures and everything else,
Mhm.
and who's gonna say what to who.
So what are we doing that?
wouldn't you have the town's
Mr. Out of
calendar up?
Country?
Well, I
Is that
mean,
the
in
town
country,
calendar?
No,
I
this
mean,
is the Jan's
I- I
calendar.
Oh,
I'm
Vic,
gonna be in
just,
Boston.
we don't, want our meeting to be on the same day as a selectmen's meeting,
No.
Like we are now, you mean?
or, yeah,
Oh,
wanna avoid that.
We're there every other week,
Mm-hmm.
so,
but I think, can we, are we allowed to circulate before the meeting any presentational material
Between each
between
other.
each other?
Probably so long as we don't comment on it, right?
No, just,
Like send everything to people or something? That's
Yeah.
why I said to you, I can't
yeah,
comment on that.
no, I know
'Cause-
that, you can't comment on it, but you
Yeah.
can send,
Yeah.
which is fine.
We can share info,
But,
we
yeah.
just can't
Comment,
discuss info.
yeah, but
Yeah.
it's
So-
sort of accept,
Not with a, that's right, not
Yeah.
with a quorum.
right,
Yeah.
right,
So
understand
if-
that, yeah,
If you had pictures of trees and you had pictures of trees and you had some
Yeah.
pictures, if we all, then we can send them all to each other.
yeah,
But there's no discussion.
right,
These are my trees
Trees.
that you asked me to send
Yeah,
you, so
right.
that's it, that, no discussion.
and
Right.
then,
Yeah, then
It's
we're
like we
fine.
send
Yeah.
agenda out.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and then we can have pictures, so we turn up the meeting and we got all the pictures, and we can say, yes, we'll have that one, not that one, da 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 da, and then.
yeah. So if everybody can just send them to the same historical commission website that I
Yeah.
send everything out from, because, it's, that's an official town, actually, town webpage, so.
Yeah, we obviously wouldn't have one. Yeah.
Yeah, so,
And
then I can get them printed. So, here, in color. And we can
they're good to-
tack them up.
Don't ask me to do it, I don't
Just
do
a matter
computers.
of Googling the name of the tree
Yeah.
and they'll have different.
Yeah,
there
so-
Yeah.
there are plenty of, yeah.
So,
You know how to do that,
as
right?
long as I have,
What's that?
You know how to do that, right?
No, no.
No?
I know Google Earth, that's it.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, no,
That's
I get answers and they're actually from his wife's email and I'm trying to go,
Yeah.
okay, is this Nancy telling me something about the historical commission or Fred sending
I
something?
tell Nancy and she tells you.
So,
Yep.
So.
alright,
And
so,
all these trees, I presume, are readily available at any nursery.
That's a good question, which we don't really have an answer to.
And
I
I
don't-
don't think we
I mean,
need to know the answer because it's up to the town when they wanna
Yeah.
plant
I
them.
mean,
To do that, we're just.
yeah, right now, we're
advising.
pretty much, I'm thinking, and that's what I'm hearing in this room primarily, is saying, here we are,
Yeah,
in case you don't know it, we're the advisory committee for the board, and we're taking up the banner to try to do something to make our green proud again, the way it used to be. And these are the things that we've hit upon from all the discussions that have gone on for the past 2.5 practically years. It's not, you know, so it's not like we just made up this list out of thin air. And here's a list of some of the things that we've come up with that we think the citizens are interested in, are concerned about, and
We wanna hear from
tell
you.
tell us what you think,
Yeah.
you know, that's.
Yep.
I
And then-
nominate you to say that exact.
And-
I know, I'd like to have her do
That's
that,
perfect.
yeah. Yeah, that's right, really.
And-
That
and-
was perfect.
That's basically all
We've
you
done
have to do.
quite a lot of research, get over the fact that we've done a lot of the groundwork,
Yeah,
which we have, and got advice from other experts.
and we'll have them there,
Yeah.
hopefully, I
Any
mean,
questions then, yeah, so
So-
we'll, and,
Perfect.
yep, the other things are, you know. fairly
That's on
easy.
TV, right, so you can write that right down.
Yeah, right.
We'll,
Review the video and
I-
say that
I do
I think
verbatim.
I
yeah.
enjoy more than being on YouTube every month.
yes, and I think tying it in to being proud of the history and everything else, it provides the continuity, I think that's a good thing.
Right, and that's actually, in all fairness of discussion, where Cole got started, wanted to make the Greens something that either, not just this town, but all towns knew about why they're there, where they came from, and make them
Right,
user-friendly again.
Yeah.
I mean, now it's just kinda like, ooh.
yeah.
you
Well,
know.
again, the problem is the town dropped the ball on maintenance. That was the
Yeah,
problem.
oh yeah, yes, that's very
Yeah,
true, yeah.
So,
It's-
then, I mean.
Not atypical.
No, and the new crew has really been digging in to try to fix a lot of things that probably
Good.
that slid off the back end of the truck, so to speak, so.
So actually, that's something to say, is, you know, this has been given a priority as well, for exactly the reasons you said.
And it's in the hands of the town, which is even more important to a lot of people.
Mm,
It's not somebody else
Yeah,
saying
right,
what
that's
they're
right.
gonna do while
Right,
we're green,
yeah.
you know,
Yes,
so.
it's in your hands, but,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And we can flesh out. all
So when are we
the
having
points.
said follow-up meeting prior to
20,
public forum?
just follow-up meeting.
I'm flexible.
Because the next
Well,
BOS meeting should be on the 22nd,
Oh, that's too bad. Well, why do we have to meet on a Tuesday night?
I'm just,
We-
I can't do,
Shouldn't.
I can't do the 22nd
We aren't a set
in Boston.
board that has regular meeting days.
Usually Monday nights are pretty open. Sometimes human resources meet, but it's like 4 in the afternoon,
and Jan works
so you'll be here anyway.
from 5 to 10:30.
Ah, there
And
you
her
go.
second
that's,
job.
oh, that's, okay, so Mondays are.
But if I know ahead of time, I can, I can try to get it off, but that was part of the reason, cause,
Mm-hmm,
What about Wednesday? You work Wednesday?
no, I just work the Monday night. I work Wednesdays, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday here, but not.
So Wednesday night would be all right.
Yeah,
You're the only one that
Wednesday.
had a problem with Wednesdays, right?
Yeah.
Wednesday the 16th. you're talking
the
about.
planning board wasn't meeting on that Wednesday.
Are you talking about
They
Wednesday
do
the
every other
16th?
I
first
actually
and
don't
third
know.
Wednesdays.
Are you talking?
So
Wednesday
that
the
would be
16th.
next,
Wednesday the 16th.
that's
16th.
next Wednesday.
That's next Wednesday.
That works
that's
for
next
me.
Wednesday. I can do that. As far as I know. Nights are free
Next
for me
Wednesday
usually.
is a
Because this is
planning board
not, this is
meeting,
very
so
is.
specific,
they're
it's
off.
not, it's, should be.
Next
fairly-
Wednesday's a planning board meeting.
And it's a big hearing, so.
What's
What
the
about
hearing?
next-
What's
Which
on?
one's that on?
This.
The subdivision or
No.
the Orchard
um,
Street?
I think Orchard Street.
Oh.
Not Orchard Street, but Pearson Drive.
Pearson
Oh,
Drive,
yeah.
oh, yeah.
I
What
think.
about Tuesday the 15th?
That's okay for me as well.
That's next
That's
Tuesday.
next
Next Tuesday, yeah, we,
Oh,
So,
that'll be all right.
Is that
But
gonna
all
give
we
us
have to
all
do is just
time
get
to
paid.
get
Yeah, there's not
three
that much
pictures
to do.
together and all that?
we'll,
Sorry, what?
Is that gonna give us enough time to get our tree pictures together and
Yeah.
print
I
it?
don't think
and-
so. But Jan, you should let us know if that's tight for you.
Well, it's gonna be tight, but we don't have too much choice at this point, do we?
no, I mean, it's, we,
Well, you may not
It's
have to
very
have all the
specific.
pictures,
No,
you're
No,
gonna
I
have
mean, we
the
just,
just the.
trees and
idea
a blank
is-
spot, yeah.
yeah, saying, these are the ones we're looking at, that's all, we're looking at them. Cause we haven't
Yeah.
decided anything and nobody's decided anything about anything really, except it's not up to us to make the final decisions, so.
No,
So we're going with the 15th?
okay with me, okay with you? Okay with everyone?
So
We'll have to
Pam,
do it here, in the.
We have to
meeting
do it
room.
here now, yeah. So moved, 15th, 7 PM.
seconded.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favour?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And
7
you'll
PM again.
reserve a room or whatever needs to be done in due course.
And the agenda for that night, that's what it'll be.
They have just that,
Just
nothing else.
formalizing the,
Prepping for the
Formalize the
26th floor.
presentation. Yeah,
Organised
right.
presentation, yeah. Who's gonna say what and all, we'll get the bullet points down.
Who's gonna bring what kind of donuts?
Yeah,
Right,
Yeah.
real critical stuff.
yeah.
Let's
Input.
see,
So
pumpkin
we just-
pies, okay.
Ooh.
Those, yeah.
Oh, that sounds good.
is that it for the night? He wants to get moving.
On the
Don't,
list, he wants to get moving on
No, I
on
don't-
the agenda, are we done?
Don't,
If we're done,
Okay,
when we're
where are
done.
we?
I don't want-
I think we're
I'm not
done, I
trying
mean,
to
that's,
push
that's
it.
the last item on the
We
agenda.
have to have a motion then,
Oh,
To adjourn.
will we adjourn?
and is that to be seconded?
I'll second
Second,
it.
okay.
Okay, all in favour?
Aye.
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 Good.